Greetings everyone. As most of you probably already know, Dark Souls 3 is coming out soon. Yes, I know, the game came out like 4 months ago, but well, I finished this part of the video before the game was released. Because I was insane and thought I would be able to finish this video before the game comes out, so yeah, let's just pretend the game isn't out yet, okay? Let's just do that. And as a big fan of the Souls games, I'm pretty damn excited for it. That's the reason why I wanted to do something related to them today, so here are my top 5 favorite enemies from Dark Souls. Only from the first one though, because I like its enemies a lot more anyway, and recording the footage from Dark Souls 2 would take way too much time, due to me being on the beginning of New Game Plus, on my only save file that I have on it. With that out of the way, let's start the list. You know, sometimes enemies make an impression on you not because they're scary or tough or something like that, but because of their personality. One example for that can be found in Darkroot Garden, the mushroom people. I'm not exactly sure why, but they always fascinated me, which is weird because their design is one of the more unoriginal ones in the game. Seriously, they could fit right into a traditional JRPG. Maybe that's actually one of the reasons why they stick out for me. The thing that made me really fall in love with them though is the way they move. They just slowly walk towards you and try to punch you in your dumb face. Seriously, they never run after you. These mushrooms don't give a shit about anything. I respect it. Their attacks are not that hard to avoid due to them being pretty slow, but they do a lot of damage, and when you're using a heavy weapon, these guys can be a bit of a challenge because you can pretty much never stun them, and they have quite a lot of health. There are also the mushroom kids. The interesting thing about them is that they don't try to kill you. Actually, they completely ignore you. You walk by and they're just like, yeah, whatever man. If you're a dick and attack them anyway, these little guys will try to escape from you. And if you run after them for a while, they will eventually start attacking you. The fact that they're not just normal bad guys who instantly try to kill you makes them a lot more memorable. And it gives them a lot more personality. Just as I said earlier, I like the mushroom people for their personality and less for the challenge they offer. There isn't much more that I can say about them, so let's move on to number 4. You know what kind of enemies are my favorite? The ones that not only serve as an obstacle, but also as a part of the scenery. I know you could argue that pretty much every enemy does it in a way, but I think you know what I mean. And if you don't, here's an example. The Moonlight Butterflies Crystal Cave don't even fight you unless you attack them first. But it's still good to have them in this place, because they make it look better than it already does. I think they add quite a bit to this place visually. But they're not on the number 4 spot. These things are. If you can't tell, they're the lower half of an undead dragon. At least that is what the Dark Souls wiki says. And they are pretty awesome. Lost Izalith is a great location anyway, but it wouldn't be as cool as it is if it weren't for them. The first time I entered this place and saw these things in the distance was a very memorable moment for me. Never before in the game do you see so many huge enemies at once. They work great as a part of the scenery, and as I said earlier, I love when enemies do that. Also, they are just as tough as they look like. You have to take them out one by one, and even then it's pretty hard to kill them. When you're walking around in the lava surrounded by these gigantic creatures, you really feel like you're in danger. They are pretty damn intimidating. Overall, great enemy and without a doubt worthy of the number 4 spot on this list. One thing that not many games managed to do was to make me feel so disgusted by a monster that I didn't want to go near it. Bloodborne did it a few times, Fallout 3 did it once or twice, but other than that, I can't really think of a game that did it. Well, except for Dark Souls, of course. And the creature that made me feel so disgusted was this lovely thing. Seriously, the first time I saw a Chaos Eater standing in the distance, I needed almost a minute until I could walk towards it. There are many fucking eyes, there are tentacles, their mouth that is on top of their head. Just everything about him is damn gross. Not to forget the sound they make while walking. I love enemies that make me feel disturbed or disgusted, so that's why they're on the number 3 spot. And now let's move on to number 2 before I freak out. If I would ever make a top 5 list of my favorite Dark Souls locations, the number 1 spot would probably go to the New Londo rooms. There's so much that I love about this place, but you know what my favorite thing about it is? Yes, I really like these ghosts. They made quite an impression on me when I first encountered them. One of the cool things about New Londo is that you can go to it directly after you finish the tutorial area. In the Firelink Shrine there's an elevator that takes you there. And so I went to this place thinking that it would be an easy area. I kept thinking this until I ran into some ghosts, realized that my attacks weren't even doing any damage to them and got my ass kicked. The interesting thing about them is that you can only harm them when you are cursed, so you have two options. You can either get yourself cursed before you go to New Londo, or you use a transient curse. The effect of the transient curses only lasts for 5 minutes though, so you will need a few of those if you choose option 2. Another thing that I like about them is that I can walk, or rather float, through walls just like you would expect from a ghost. This makes them a lot scarier, because there isn't a place where you're safe from them. They can just float through the wall behind you or through the floor. So, yes, I really like the ghosts from New Londo, quite a lot. But there's still one enemy left that I like even more. On my number 1 spot we have an enemy that only appears in the DLC Artorias of the Abyss. It's also an enemy with an extremely simple design. The last location you visit in the DLC is the Chasm of the Abyss. I will never forget the first time I entered this place and saw this. Remember what I said at the number 4 spot? It's actually not that long ago, so you probably do. I love enemies that serve as a part of the scenery, and the Humanity Phantoms are doing a fantastic job at that. The way they watch you from the distance is so damn creepy. And I like it. I also love the design. Yes, it's very simplistic, but sometimes there's beauty in simplicity. One thing that is interesting about them is that they're the only enemy in the game that hurts you simply by touching you. They don't even have any attack animations, they just float towards you, and when they touch you they drain all your health in like 2 seconds. But they have very little health, and it's pretty easy to keep them at a distance, so they're not that big of a threat. I know there are enemies in Dark Souls that are probably more deserving of the spot, like these guys for example, but well, this is my list and I have a pretty weird taste. I don't know, I just love the Humanity Phantoms. They are awesome. So that's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it and thank you so much for watching.